All right, guys, here we are at 8806 Cromwell. Super cute house. So this is the King model. And you can actually look up, so the Kings Park Civic Association has their models online. I can help you with that if you need it, but you can look up the floor plan for the original model. Now this one has been very generously expanded, but that'll give you a feel for it. So they had like 5 models in Kings Park, I believe, maybe 6. So here is the street view. So there's a little bit going on at this house. You know, I'm not sure. I haven't been down the street in a while, so I'm not sure if that's permanent or temporary. You know, just one situation here. The house next door is very well kept. This is generally a very well kept neighborhood. This is a well-known neighborhood. I think there's about 1,100 houses in here, if I recall correctly from the last time I checked. So, I'm standing on this parking pad. This is huge. You could totally park 2 cars going this way and then kind of backing out, or you could park a car here and back out this way. And then there's a lot of street parking here. And a lot of these are older homes, right? These are 60s homes. A lot of people park 1 car on the street. So it's not like a, 6 families live in a house kind of neighborhood, but you will see some people parking on the street. Let me see if I can zoom out a little bit more. Okay, there we go. So this is wider. Okay, so this is a little bit wider of a lens, of an angle. So it's going to make the rooms look a little bit bigger, but I'll tell you, I'll be honest, I promise. So here we go. We have trash cans. And then this is that separate entrance to the mudroom that was added on. So you can tell this is a whole addition right here, and it goes kind of like back around too. So it looked enormous in the photos. So that should be cool. But this would be that entrance, and I don't have the key yet. I'll do that one next, but we're just doing the exterior here. They have this nice concrete pad for your trash cans, which is nice. And then this is not a very official gate here, but okay, so we'll open that. And then, but it does close, so you have a little bit of the original fence, and then the neighbors have put up a privacy fence. Nice looking shed. This is a big yard. So this is one of the neighborhoods we talked about where you can get a bigger lot. I think this one's on about 1/3 of an acre, which is a huge lot for this area. So this is a beautiful lot. It does slope down, but that's good because it slopes away from the house, and it's mostly cleared. So you don't have, $22,000 trees to take down. And there's no bamboo. Ooh, bamboo. That'll get you. So there's none of that in here, which is nice. It's a pretty good looking shed. I don't know if this house is still occupied, so I don't look as hard at certain things if it is. But this is a pretty good sized storage shed. Oh, let's see. Okay. So here we go. Cabinet, definitely, yard tools and things like that. So, great looking house, or excuse me, great looking shed. Looks pretty good. These are definitely old and rotting, and yeah, you'd probably want to take those off. I'm not sure. I think they used to be flower boxes or something. Those make it look uglier than it would otherwise. So if you took those off, this would look great. Siding's in good condition. Roof is in good condition. And it looks like it's been well kept on the inside. So then over here is the deck, which is nice. It's currently in the shade, so that's good. And then you can see the back of the addition here with those pretty windows, and then the back of the home. So there's probably a basement. I don't know. This one, the one we rented, had a daylight basement. It was built into the hill differently. This one, I don't see a walkout, but it might be on the other side. I'm just going to go back through this side because the gate's open. And then we'll check out the inside next. Okay, here we have stepped inside. Here is the front door. It smells like paint, like 100%. So that's a good sign. It's been painted. Here are the stairs right here. So this, you're going to have a little bit of congestion here, but it's not too bad. And there is a coat closet right here. So there is that. And then we'll just look at that right now. Let's see. Okay, here, I'm going to hang on a sec. Okay, we're going to look at it like this for now. It was better outside. Extra piece of floor trim. Coat closet here. It smells like paint in there, so they even painted the closet, which is nice. Staircase up. These are hardwoods. So far, they're in excellent shape. Maybe the best of all the floors that we've looked at together so far. They are a slightly reddish brown, not an obnoxious red. They're a very nice color. There is a little bit of red in the brown, so just keep that in mind. But it is a very nice color, and they've been recently refinished, I would say. So beautiful bay window here. This living room is about probably 12 feet wide here, maybe like 20 feet long. It does have the new contemporary wafer lights installed, which is nice. And then they're probably controlled over here. There's a lot of switches over here. So, and this one is wired for a doorbell. You know, a lot of the original ones were not. So someone paid to have that done, which is nice. Looks like maybe a gas insert, or just decorative. Yep, there's a key down there. So that's probably it's probably gas. So I wouldn't want to promise that, but I would say that's pretty likely. All right, and so let's turn on some lights in the kitchen here. This is the fan light. Oh, it feels very spacious in here. Wow, that is a beautiful addition. Okay, let's turn on some lights so we can see this pretty house. Okay, so a lot of the lights, so you know what that is? That is an LED light on a dimmer switch. And a lot of LEDs don't like dimmer switches. So don't worry, that's likely not an electrical issue, just a dimmer switch compatibility issue. So we have granite countertops, very nice, subtle black, kind of that oil rubbed bronze, maybe that old school handles. Very nice. The kitchen looks very nice. So, you know, there is some brown for sure with the brown floor and the slightly brown walls and then the brown cabinets. There's a lot of brown, but it is nicely done. So this is kind of the coffee bar, small appliance section, I would say. Big drawers here. Nice built-in organizers. There's a remote in there probably for one of the light fixtures. Yeah, really nice. These are high quality wood cabinets. So nice touch. They do go to the ceiling, which is, you know, contemporary like that. So you've got a fair amount of cabinets in here. And then here's the fridge. Look at that. I don't think this has the screen. It has the window. I think it's like the door and door. So this is nice. But KitchenAid dishwasher. That's a nice dishwasher. Gas cooktop with the griddle, hanging microwave. And then you can see from the sink, you can see the bit of the backyard and the deck. So that's very nice. All right, so this is what I'm excited about. Let's check out this addition. So this is off to the side of the house. When you're looking from the front, this is the room you see. So through here, we have these huge cabinets. Oh man, look at that. Super nice. Pull out shelves. This would be your pantry space, I would guess. This is a nice desk kind of work area. This is wide. You know, sometimes those real estate, the listing photos, it's hard to tell how wide, but this is wide. This is a very large space. This is larger in here than I would have guessed by looking at the photos. You have some wraparound cabinet here. And then this was that exterior door we saw. Coat hooks, bench for sitting. I mean, this is beautiful. I'm not going to lie. A little skeptical, but this is really nice. I think you would like this. That's a door right here, of course, you know, ceramic tile here. This is slightly different than the other hardwood. Okay, so you can see here at the transition, this feels like an engineered wood, I would say. It is not a cheap LVP, but it is not exactly the same as this hardwood. This feels more like an engineered wood to me, the way it has the kind of the lines there. That would be my guess. So, okay, so we'll come back in the kitchen. So this house used to end here, right? This wall was solid, this wall was solid, and then this was the only dining space. So this addition really, really bumps it out. All right, so we have the walkout to the deck there, beautiful French doors. And these were expensive windows, so I'm just gonna put that out there. This is a very substantial, this would have been a big cost to this addition. So it's huge. It's huge. You have plenty of space for a large table here. This is a small table. And I know, again, with the photos, that looks like a dog door. So I guess if you know, I don't know if that you're like a husky would, or a German Shepherd or what would fit through there, but if you got a cat or something, I don't know. Never mind. But table would go here. And, you know, you could change that light fixture pretty easily if you wanted to. But there's plenty of space for a table that would accommodate your family. You could get a table for 8 to 10 in here with no problem. This is huge. This is a beautiful addition. So, and it doesn't really feel like an addition. It flows really well. So that's a love sack right there. So, you know, you're familiar with that. You can see how many that's six, what was it? Okay, 5 seats, and then the ottoman. So that's a big piece of furniture, and there's plenty of room for a TV right here. That's probably why those outlets are on the wall. Cute little chairs. Yeah, now this was a beautiful addition. I was skeptical, but it was very well done. So, and then here's that front living room again. So this room is a little bit smaller. This would be harder to have a TV in because, you know, you have to walk through it basically. Well, you don't have to, but, you know, your kids would. So, but a lovely kind of sitting room, reception room, whatever you want to call it. So then off the kitchen, we will come down here. And then this is the stairs to the basement, which we will see shortly. And this is the same original hardwoods throughout here. So there is a transition piece here, but no big deal. These were refinished at the same time. This is the same color as the rest of the house. This is the full bathroom that is on the first floor. It has been redone. That is not the original tile. So they did do the weird tile on the wall everywhere thing, but this is not the original tile. So, you know, some dated light fixture in here. That's a dated medicine cabinet. You know, those are things that you could hire out pretty cheaply if you wanted to update. That would elevate this bathroom a little bit, but just a nice shower curtain and a bath mat would make it look a little nicer. Here is linen closet. So you got good space in there. The wood floor goes throughout the closet, which is nice. And then, okay, so this is going to be one of the downsides, you know, that I mentioned in the text, but this, I don't know if this is the primary or if the other one is, but this house doesn't have a contemporary primary. So downstairs there are 2 bedrooms and then that 1 full bathroom on the main floor. This is I mean, it's not a huge closet, okay? It's a regular size closet. It does go all the way up to the ceiling, which is nice, and this home has high ceilings. So that's a nice feature. So this is one of the rooms. That is a full-size bed. I don't think it's a queen. Ugh, don't quote me on that. I'm pretty sure that's a full size. The full and the queen really aren't that much different. It's hard to tell. And then this is the other room here. Oh, shoot, on the main floor. Okay, well, we wouldn't want to. Okay, so this door could use a little WD-40, right? So this is a bit of a conflict here as I banged into it. You'd want to leave those doors closed for that part. A little grace on that. Easy fix. This is the other beautiful bay window. So they currently have this set up as kind of more of an office. This is about the same size as the other one. So it does have the fancy fan with the remote. It's been beautifully painted. This is about exactly the color I suggested in the other house when you asked about paint color. This is kind of like a really nice beige. It's very nice with the white trim. It looks great. It matches the floor color. So they've done a lot of updating to this house that looks very nice, I will say. All right, so back at the front door, we looked at the coat closet. We're going to go up the stairs, and so you can see here where the stairs are in relation to the door. It would be a little tight, you know, 6 people piling in right here. You might put a little shoe cabinet there, or, you know, maybe you'd want to build a path to the other door and use that as the primary entrance. I think that's probably how the current owners use it, just based on how it's laid out. You could add a path to make it more obvious, but then you would, you know, receive your guests from the front door, but you guys would use the side door. So up the hallway, this is the full bathroom that is up here. I would say it was redone around the same time as the one downstairs. This, you know, you have a little bit of counter space, and this looks like a pretty deep medicine cabinet. Let's see. Yeah, pretty good. There's a lot of storage in there. Slightly newer light fixture in here. The exhaust fan is pretty new. Let's check here. The grout. I mean, white grout, right? It's hard. This grout is in good shape. I would say there's not mildew. It's not gross. These are kind of more of a textured tile, which is kind of nice. So, you know, this one's a little bit older for sure, but it looks nice. It's clean. It was obviously very well cleaned. So this one has 2 exterior or 2 kind of outer bedrooms, and then 1 bedroom in the middle, right next to the bathroom. So this is the one on the right when you walk up the stairs. Closet door here. This one has the walk-in closet. So, oh, you know what? So the light switch here, there's no light switch. There's a thing. That's a bit of a missed opportunity. You could add that. Fire escape ladder. Okay, very smart. So responsible people owned this house, which is good. The closet has been painted. The floor is the same. This is a very lovely closet. And these low ceilings are only, you know, like a couple feet. So we had my older boys were in a bunk bed in this bedroom before, and it was great. They had a lot of space. This is definitely large enough for two to share if that was, you know, how you're going to do it. So it is the same color as the rest. There's a lot of light from that window. So let's see. And all these have the fancy fans, which is nice because they splurged to have the switch put in. So here is the upstairs linen closet, which is very large. That is some sort of exhaust or a vent, maybe an intake. We can look in a second if it matters. But shelving here, some additional garment storage if you wanted a shelf here. I don't think this is probably, yeah, kind of crawl space. Let's take a peek. Okay, it's like 1,000 degrees in there, and there's like extra outlet. Like, this is not really usable storage space. Maybe if you put down some plywood, you could stuff a couple more things in there. Some Christmas totes or like wrapping paper, you know, stuff like that. But I wouldn't really count on that space. But, you know, a walk-in linen closet is pretty premium. So let's see. Let's close that. Okay, so this is the smallest bedroom, all right? This is a small bedroom. I'm not going to lie. I had a kid in this bedroom. We took the closet doors off and, like, you know, but it is a smaller bedroom. This is one of the smallest bedrooms of the houses we've looked at. This is probably the biggest negative of this property. But, you know, if you have a kid who doesn't mind a small bedroom with all the other amenities, it does have the hall, the ceiling height closet, bifold doors. These have been painted. These are likely the original doors, but they have been freshly painted and they look very nice. The floor is in beautiful shape up here. This is the original hardwood. These floors will live longer than you and I do. So you'd probably want to tuck this cord up, of course. This is an air, it's a return for the furnace. So walking into this room, fancy fan. So not a ton of light, but I think we could turn that, you know, that, I'm not going to mess with that, but I think the light gets brighter. So here, this one has a more modest closet here, with, you know, a bar, and you could put a dresser in there if you know, wanted to save space. But this is a good size room. You can see it set up here with 2 twin size beds. They have that one blocking the vent a little bit, so you'd have to be careful about that. But, you know, you could easily put a bed here and a bed here if you wanted 2 boys to share this room. And then this is kind of neat. It has this built-in, you know, additional storage here. So that's kind of cool. So this is that room. And then these two are mirrored. They're identical rooms. Just one has the larger closet. But as far as like boys fighting over rooms, these two are the same size on the wings here. And then this one is quite a bit smaller. I'd say probably half the size. So the other thing weird I'm noticing up here is like this threshold. That is a strange choice because there's no gray in the bathroom. Everything else is kind of like a, you know, like a brown. So this was a poor choice from whoever put that there. But otherwise, it looks really good. And this isn't a condition issue. It's just a taste issue. But otherwise, actually, the house looks super well maintained. So let's go down the stairs. And then we will check out the basement, which I think I told you a little bit about in the text. But this house does have a nice basement with lots of storage, which, you know, you need if you don't have a garage. So we'll come down the basement, and these stairs are a little steep. They're not super steep. The main stairs that go up are a little bit steep. And the staircases in older houses are really narrow. So that's one thing to keep in mind, but a lot of them are like that. It's not unique to this property. So here is one entrance to the unfinished area. I'm going to go, okay, we'll just go this way. Okay, so there is a workbench here. If you didn't want this, you could easily give this away on a Buy Nothing page. There's a really active Buy Nothing page in Kings Park. So this is big. You know, you could definitely put shelves here for totes and whatever, you know, put the bikes in the shed outdoors, and then other like garage things, you know, would go down here. So this is a big space. There's the water heater. Looks relatively new. It's clean. There's nothing nasty on it. Furnace looks pretty good. It's very clean down here. Laundry sorter. You know, I don't know if people still live here or if this stuff stays. You know, I don't know the details on that. But there is a washer and dryer. And then that used to be more of a window that's now currently a dryer vent. So that's, you know, that's good. That works. There's the electrical panel down there. Let's check it out and see how old it looks. Oh, okay. So it's not at all. So this isn't super old. It's got a lot of space if you wanted to add more things. They probably had to add a second one when they added the addition. So that one's not overloaded, which is nice because if you wanted to add stuff over the years, having an already full electrical panel and having to pay to have a new one put in is very expensive. Closet down here underneath the stairs. They have a little bit of like a work table situation put up in there, and some, you know, some leftover IKEA countertop from the desk area. But you know, that could be cute. You could find something to do with that. Nice storage space if you don't need that. And then this finished part of the basement here. So, you know, there is a little bit of, you know, because there's ductwork and stuff that runs through here. So you lose a little bit of ceiling height in these older houses, but the windows bring in a lot of light. This must be the exterior exit that we couldn't see from the other side of the house. Let's pop that open real quick. Ooh, okay, it's been freshly painted. So here we go. So it exits out to the side yard here, and your neighbors have a very lovely bush situation there, and the landscaping is pretty nice here. The grass is getting a little bit long, so it could be that people don't live here, but yeah, no, it looks good from there. And so, okay, so then here, so this is not as big as, you know, some of the ones that we have looked at are larger, but it's not small. It's definitely plenty of room for a TV and a pool table. You know, if you wanted to, you could put the pool table maybe back there. So when we lived in this house, I think we had the TV along this wall, you know, and then we had the couch kind of back here. But you could use this in a lot of different ways, and it would be great. So one of the neighbors is weed whacking. So if you hear a weird buzzing, it's not me. It's a neighbor weed whacking. And then this is maybe another electrical panel. Okay, so this is probably more of the original electrical panel. And this one has some spots on it too. It's not super old. You see the 2 for the EV charging station. So yeah, it's not the old. That's probably not the original. So that's good. And so here we go. So that one pole, but it doesn't really ruin the space at all.